Hello and welcome back to the Cocked Dice. We're back again with another Perilous Tale, so don your fedora and let's head out on an adventure. Tonight's game takes place in the steamy jungles of some unspecified part of the world. Butch and co are hunting for the witch. The game's played using version 3 of the beta rules, and we will take a quick look across the board and the setup for the game tonight. Here we have the setup for tonight's game. We are going with a standard deployment, so 3 threat markers, 2 threat markers, 3 threat markers. The back of the board is this back line of markers down here. We've got the village set up and some jungly terrain. We're playing version 3 of the beta rules tonight, so as usual, comment on any rules we've got wrong now and not in 6 months' time, because the rules may have changed dramatically by then, as we've seen in the last 2 sort of revisions that Mike has done. In addition to our villainous models, which I will introduce you to in just a moment, we have the following other threats in play tonight. We have Raging Storm, Disaster Strikes and Utterly Horrible. Our objectives for tonight, and I've just taken one off, I'm going to pop him back on. He should be about there. Our objectives for tonight are rescue the prisoner, he's sat down here. We have stop the ritual, and we have an idol right in the centre here. And we also have no stone unturned, which means I need to reveal as many threat markers as possible during the game tonight. Markers, as usual, have been provided to us by Tabletop Battlezone. There's a link in the comment below. So just take a look, have a look at their website. They've got loads of markers and cool stuff like that for your games. Let's go take a look at the teams for tonight. And here are our heroes for tonight's game. This week I've decided to do something a little different and play around with some of the team setup and just see how it works. So we're running 2 hero or 2 leaders tonight and 2 teammates, and that's it. So on the side here we've got Ginger, as always inappropriately dressed for the location, but coming along with her medical skills. We have Butch, he's coming along with Tough Guy and Crazed. I'll jump to the side. This is a new character for tonight. He's a leader and we're calling him Ghost. He's coming along with Crackshot to represent his 2 pistols, and Sneaky, so he takes a skill check or can ignore revealing threat markers. In the kind of centre here is his pet Panther. Now, I wanted to try animals out in this game for a while, and Mike's not got around to writing any rules, so I've made some up. Essentially, the Panther's not going to have a shooting attack, but instead has 2 skills. He's going to have Nippy, which gives him a 6-inch move. I thought it was fairly relevant for a big cat. And he's going to have Brute, which gives him a +3 skill when he's fighting up close. That kind of seems to be around the right skill set for him. I think this is going to be quite a tough game. I've only got 4 bodies instead of my usual 5, so all the threat checks are going to be a bit lower. I've not got as many active. I have got 1 extra activation from the extra leader, but I haven't got as many activations and as many models to kind of cover each other. But I thought it'd be a bit fun because you've seen the team week after week, and I thought I'd do a bit of a mix up and see what else works. And here are the villains for tonight's game. So in the centre here we have our witch. She has taken over a village, and we've got a couple of villagers here who are essentially non-combatants. I've picked the models I've got. They've got spears, but that's all I had handy. I didn't have any unarmed villagers. They're non-combatants. There's some quite interesting rules here. So the villagers themselves have a rule called bystander. So I can't target this model with an attack action unless this model's already attacked a hero. So obviously under her spell of some sort. So they hang back. So when you spawn them on the threat marker, not as a ambush. And finally, they've got an ability called Spurn the Witch. So if a hero character makes a successful parley action against this villain, it becomes a teammate with 2 AP under the control of the hero's controller. This is one of the reasons why I was quite happy to take only 4 heroes in tonight's game, because essentially I may have extra characters joining me as I go. On the side over here, we've got a bunch of crows. It's supposed to be a crow on each base, but I have flocks of crows, so they will do. Again, they've got the hangback rule, so when they're revealed, spawn it so it can be centered on the threat marker. If these are in play while the witch is, they get a long-ranged attack, which is quite interesting. They're not very skilled, but they boost their skill as well. They fly, so they can move 10 inches instead of 6, so they are very, very, very quick. And finally, out of tricks. So when the model is killed, if threat marker 1 has already been revealed and no witch has been spawned so far this game, Spurn the Witch, replacing the crow with the witch. So once one of these goes down, the witch will appear. So that hopefully should solve some of the problems I've normally seen in games, where the bad guy comes out really, really early. Or bad girl in this game. The witch herself. So if you ever draw the 1, you spawn one of these crows instead. So she's going to at least be the second time that a crow dies or something happens. Again, she's got hangback, so when revealed, you spawn that model. She's a sorceress, so she's got a 10-inch villainous attack. Deal with the devil. If a hero makes a successful parley action against this villain, they may take 8 wounds to remove the witch from play. And then finally, they've got black magic. If a hero makes an attack action against this model, which causes no wounds, 0 wounds, the attacker suffers 1 wound. And select a threat marker at random and place this villain 8 inches away from the attacker, as near to that threat marker as possible. Ooh, so she essentially will do rebound damage if I don't cause anything to her. She's skill 7, so she's quite hard to hit. This will be quite an interesting game, being that my force tonight is fairly melee focused. Right, here we are for turn 1. This is going to be a busy, busy game. We've got some very fast characters who are going to do some quite cool stuff. I've got no binoculars, so I'm not going to be able to take a peek at anything. I'm just going to have to go in blind. I think first of all, the Panther, who shall not be named, is going to come. I'm going to come to there for now. I don't want to start revealing these markers just yet, not with models first just setting up. I'm going to activate the ghost next. He is going to make a 6-inch move, 4-inch move even. I'm cheating already. 4-inch move to here. Then he's going to make a second 4-inch move in here. Now he's only within 6 of this one marker over here. So he is just about in range of this threat marker over here. Now one of his skills is sneaky. He gets to take a skill check and see if he can avoid triggering it. He rolls, he gets a 9. Oh, it's not my night tonight. Unfortunately, he fails his skill check and reveals this marker. It is a number 7. That is Disaster Strikes. This is definitely not my game tonight. So that is a skill 7 attack. Do you use his skill as a minimum score for this? I presume so. It's an attack, isn't it? So his skill is 4. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 successes there. So he takes 4 damage from that, and we remove that from play. Now, unfortunately, that ends our hero's activation. So Butch hasn't even got off the mark yet. I was trying to be a bit too clever. We will move on to our Villainous Phase, and it is a threat check. The threat level, as always, starts at 1, so we'll take a single dice, test with the advantage. It rolls a 4 as its difficulty. We've got 4 heroes on the board, and we roll a 6, so that is a single success. Simply the noose tightens, and I'll move these threat markers up very quickly. 2 markers have just moved into range of the ghost, so he's going to take checks on both of those to see if he triggers them. So we'll check on this one over here first. He gets difficulty 3 and rolls 3 successes, and then we'll check on this marker down here. He rolls difficulty 1 and busts through a bunch of successes again, so neither of those trigger as yet. There are no other villainous models on the table at the moment, so we will return to our heroes phase. I think we're going to start with Ginger down this side here, just simply because she's not really done much yet. So she's just going to move 4 inches up to there, and she will use Eyes Peeled at that point. Our pet Panther is going to go next. He is going to come straight through this terrain here. He's got a 6-inch move, but we half it through the terrain, and he needs to end up just behind that marker. So he is just going to essentially shoot through there and pop out over there, staying 6 inches away from this corner marker down here. The ghost is going to be a little bit more sensible this time because these markers are all pretty close. He is simply going to stay in the terrain and he will just use eyes peeled, and he'll take a test on each of those threat markers that is within 6 inches of him. The first one on the right over here, he gets difficulty 3 and scores 3 successes, so he ignores that one. And this one over here as well, he gets difficulty 6 and just about passes it with a single success. Butch is simply going to make a move action right up to the edge of these huts here, and because of his position just behind here, we're going to trigger this threat marker here and this threat marker over here. So we'll start with this one. That is a number 3. A 3 for tonight's game is a crow. So it's a minion, lurker, 2 wounds, skill of 2. It has the hang back special rule, so when it plays there. Okay, so that does nothing else for there. And then we will flip this marker over here. It's a 1. So that would normally be the witch. However, she has the ability called Familiar, which says when this villain would be revealed by a threat marker, spawn a crow instead of this villain. So we'll put a crow marker on there as well, as when they spawn, they stay on the markers. 2 shots with eyes peeled first. So we have the ghost over here. He is shooting with disadvantage, 5 dice. Let's go. So we take the 4 away from the disadvantage roll, and he gets a difficulty of 7. He does, however, score a 10. That is 2 damage, and therefore this crow here is going to be removed as they only have 2 wounds. When this model is killed, if threat marker 1 has already been revealed and no witch has been spawned so far this game, spawn the witch by replacing the crow with the witch. So that is removed, and we replace it with the witch. Next we've got Ginger. She's got a single shot at this villain over here. So it's 3 dice with disadvantage. She gets difficulty of 5. She scores a 7 and 8. That is also removed. Moving on into the Villainous Phase, we have the Witch as our only active villain. So she has a 10-inch range. She is a master lurker, 6 wounds and skill of 7. She will target the ghost with her sorceress attack. She is skill 7. He's not going to have a good night of this. He is in an area of jungle, which will give the roll a disadvantage. His skill is 4. So we take the... She's with disadvantage, so we take the 3 away. So that's leaves her with difficulty of 8. She gets a 9 and a 10, so still manages to squeeze out 3 damage onto the ghost. 6, 7. He is not having a good night of it tonight for his first outing. Once we've completed the villainous attack, she does skulk first. So skulk is move this model 6 inches towards a target unrevealed threat marker. 5, more than 5. She moves over this one. She's basically standing on the threat marker down here. And then we do up to no good. If this model is the first model this round to take this action within range of any unrevealed threat markers, increase the threat level by 1. So we've increased the threat level for the master being revealed, and then we'll increase it again for her up to no good, skulking around at the back of the table. And there we have it. That is our villainous turn. I've just realised that in moving back, the witch is now within 3 inches of the idle marker. And this says at the end of the round, if there is a villain within 3 inches of the idle marker, or at least one hero model was killed this round, increase the current threat level by 1. So actually we're on to threat level 4. Now we shall move on to our hero's turn. Ginger is going to make a double action move across here. She's not going to be able to get to the ghost this round. I've had to think about it, and I don't think there's any way of doing it. She's outside of 6 of that marker there. I've also just had to think about the threat levels, and it's actually threat level 5 because I forgot to do the threatening overtures. So we're at threat level 5 in the hero's second turn already. So Butch is simply going to move 4 inches out to here. He's outside of 6 of this marker, and he's going to take 2 shots at the witch. He's got a skill of 4. It's +1 dice for the shooting attack. He rolls a 5 for the minimum difficulty, which is fine as it's a shooting attack. He gets a 10, an 8 and a 5. So that is 4 damage onto the witch. Oh, she now does a reaction because she is a lurker. So she slinks away at this point. She's within 1 inch of an unrevealed threat marker. She now takes the hide action. And the hide action means that I now suffer disadvantage when shooting at her. So I'll take a second shoot action with disadvantage. This time we score an 8 for the difficulty and we only squeeze out a single success. That hiding certainly just saved her bacon. Okay, we're going to activate the ghost next. He needs to get into range to shoot his guns at the witch. He also needs to try and get himself out into a bit of open ground. So he is going to make a 3-inch move over to next to 3-inch move next to Ginger, so she can heal him next round. He's got a clear line of sight over to the witch, but he does need to take a test to see if he can sneak past this marker here. He rolls difficulty 9 and he does get a pair of 9s, so he is successfully snuck. He will next do a shooting action against the witch. Now he's got crack shot, so he gets +1 shot. So he's on 4 dice, +1 for shooting, +1 for crack shot. Oh, she's hiding, so it's disadvantaged. He gets difficulty 7. However, he does score a 10 and he kills the witch. He will then take another check to see if he continues to sneak past this marker. He gets a difficulty of 6 and scores an 8, so he is fine. Next, we will reduce the threat level by 2, down to threat level 3. So for the ghost's third action, he is going to use Eyes Peeled, and the Panther is going to spring across right over to touching this base and trigger it. It's a 2, it is a crow, so it hangs back and gets played right in contact with the Panther. The ghost is going to take a shot. Disadvantage as it's an appearing baddie, so he gets a 9, but he does score a pair of 9s and it has only got 2 wounds, so that crow is dead. So with that, he has managed to shoot off this crow. And with that, our hero's turn is ended. We will move on to the Villainous Phase and the threat check, which is currently threat level 3. We roll a 5 for difficulty and score 3 successes. That is Crawling Chaos. We'll start with the Chaos. So the Panther's going to take a horror check. He gets a difficulty of 5 and scores a 6. Then the Ghost will take one. He gets difficulty 7, but it's a 9 and a 10 and a 7. He's fine. Ginger will take one. She scores a 2 for difficulty and gets a 7 and 8. Butch, of course, is immune to horror checks because of his crazed ability. Upgrade. Traits, they're called now, aren't they? Then we will do Noose Titans. So all the threat markers will move in another inch. I don't think that will bring that one to... that one's now within range of Butch, so we'll flip that. That is number 4. That is a Villager. Villagers have hang back. When revealed from a threat marker, spawn this model, so it is centered on the threat marker that revealed it. So that stays there, and I can't shoot at him unless he attacks me. And finally, oh, hang on. I've just realised I should have also triggered. I've got this other threat marker over here. This is going to get triggered as well. That is a 6. That is Raging Storm. Oh dear. It's not a bad time for it to come out, but we've now got a Raging Storm, and therefore all shooting and line of sight has been reduced to just 6 inches. Finally, we will do Threatening Overtures and move the threat level up to 4. Okay, we'll bounce straight back into the action with our hero's turn. Oh, actually no, I forgot to do his activation. Quick Villainous Activation. He is a Lurker. Raises alarm, no villainous attack, got no one in range. He then skulks. He moves 6 inches back towards the nearest threat marker, which is this one here. He then raises the alarm, which will increase the threat level to 5. Now is the end of the villain's turn, and we'll bounce straight back into the action with our heroes. So I think Butch is going to make a dash for the idol, staying just outside of 6 of that, but within an inch of the idol itself. He's going to make an interact action with the idol and see if he can start scoring some victory points. He got difficulty 8. He did score a 10, so he scores a victory point for that. I'll put a marker on there. He will do a second action and attempt to do it again. He gets difficulty 7 and scores a 7, so we will pop a second marker on there. We can do it one more time, and that will get us the 3 victory points for that. Ginger is going to attempt to use her medical skills on the ghost. She gets a difficulty of 3 and scores 1, 2, 3, 4 successes there. That takes away 8 wounds, so he is fully healed. The ghost is going to come barreling around here. He will go 4 inches to there, 4 inches to there, staying outside of 6 again, and he will use his third action to interact with the marker. He gets difficulty of 9, but scores a 9 and a 10. That is our third trick for the marker, and I think we have stopped the ritual there. Finally, we have the Panther to go, and the Panther is simply going to bounce into trouble over here and trigger this threat marker. It's a number 5. Number 5 is another villager. That ends our hero's turn, and we'll move on straight to the Villainous Phase and the threat check. It is currently threat level 5, so we'll take our threat check. We have got a difficulty of 6 there, which we score 1, 2, 3, 4 successes. That is crawling chaos again. Let's take some horror checks. The Panther over here scores a difficulty of 4 and a 4 and an 8. I'll do Ginger first. I've got 2 dice in hand. She gets difficulty 3 and scores a 10 and a 5, so she's fine. And the ghost here, he gets difficulty 10 and auto fails, doing a runner 4 inches back this way. Next up, we do Crawling Chaos. There's only one unrevealed marker. This moves in an inch. It's got miles to go yet. And then we do Threatening Overtures and move the threat level up to 6. Now, I have just realised you can't see. Now on to the Villainous Activations themselves. We've got 2 villagers down here. These guys are both lurkers. So the threat level is not currently 7. So they then do raise the alarm. So they're not within unrevealed threat markers. So they would then do Villainous Attack. They've got no enemy models in range. They then skulk. So these 2 are going to both hoof it off screen again towards the threat marker in the corner here. So one of them has got to the threat marker. After skulking, they do good and increase the threat level down to 7. That ends our Villainous Phase, and we'll return with our heroes. I think first of all, in our hero's turn, Butch here is going to make a quick dash over to grab our prisoner. It is going to take me 2 movement actions to get there, but he gets there fairly easily, and then he will attempt to rescue the prisoner. I've got to do a successful interaction twice in 1 turn. I think I can do that. Do it slyly. So Butch, first of all, he gets a difficulty of 5, scores a 6 and a 7. That is 1 successful interaction so far. And then we will move the Panther in here. He gets a 2 dice 1. He gets a difficulty of 5 and fails. On the upside, it doesn't need to be in the same turn. It could be over 2 separate turns. So that's fine. Next, we'll move Ginger up. She's going to move 8 inches right up to here. And can't quite get the ghost into range, so he's going to move 8 to just stop outside here. I can't shoot at these 2 yet, so I think we'll just pause there. Or do I just go in and reveal? Let's just reveal the last threat marker. What the heck? So he'll make his third action just to move into 6 inches of this threat marker down here. We flip that over. It's an 8. It's utterly horrible. He will now need to take a horror check, as he's the only hero within 6 inches of it. He gets a difficulty of 2 and passes that with ease. We have now unrevealed all 8 threat markers. And so we have scored maximum points for leave no stone unturned. No, we haven't. The threat level is 7. I've scored 1 point for that because the threat level is currently 7. I didn't do it quite fast enough. So that ends our hero's phase. We will move on to the villain's turn. We'll move on to the villain's phase and take the threat check. It is threat level 7. We take the check. We've got a minimum difficulty of 4 because we have all the heroes on the board still. So we've got 6 successes there. That is from the shadows. We will spawn an extra minion. Haven't got any spare villagers, so it'll have to be another crow. This spawns a hero with the fewest friendly markers within 3 inches of it. It's going to be the ghost over here. It sets up. This crow spawns within 1 inch of the hero. Then we do Crawling Chaos. There are no threat markers left to move. Then we do Noose Titans. Sorry, wrong way round. We do Crawling Chaos, which is horror checks, and then we do the Noose Titans. So I will quickly do a threat check for a horror check for the ghost. He is fine. Butch is immune. Panther just about passes. Ginger passes with ease. There isn't anything to do for the Noose Titans, and then we increase the threat level to 8. That is all the actions for the threat check. We'll move on to the Villainous Activations. We'll start with the crows because they are closest to the hero's board edge. The crow has a minion lurker. So the threat level is 7, yes. It's now aggressive, so it makes a villainous attack against the ghost. Its difficulty, yes, its skill. Its skill is 2. I don't think this is going to hurt him much. Obviously, he has a fighting skill of 7. So the minimum difficulty to hit him is 7. It scores 1 success with an 8. And villainous attack, advance, villainous attack, doesn't do anything else, step forward as a reaction. That's fine, that's all it does. Next, the 2 villagers back here, they also become aggressive now. Now they're not in range, so they will simply move forwards to engage the nearest enemy, who is also the most heavily wounded. As these models did nothing in step 2, they will now attack the ghost. Now they are skill... Oh, they're on skill 2 again. They've got 5 wounds, but they're on skill 2. So let's see, the first one. He gets difficulty 3, scores a 3 and a 5. The ghost has got a ridiculously high melee, so that does nothing. Second one scores a 7 and also does nothing. I should have been rolled with a success, but it doesn't really matter because he is skill 7 for melee fighting. That is not a problem. That ends our Villainous Phase and is the end of the round. We'll move back to our heroes now. And I think we're going to play it safe this time. We're going to go with Butch first of all. He is going to take his second attempt at freeing the prisoner. He gets difficulty 2, scores a 10, a 6, 5, 4. He gets loads of successes there. Is there any minimum difficulty for this? No, there isn't. I've successfully interacted with the prisoner twice. He is now freed and he's now a teammate with 6 wounds and skill of 1. Butch is now free to do stuff. He's then going to make a 4-inch move over here and he's going to kick the stuffing out of these crows. We've got difficulty 4. He gets an 8, a 7, 8 and a 5. That is 4 hits on the crows who are only skill 2. They are removed from the game. That is his 3 actions. The Panther cannot quite... Oh, he can. The Panther will come round and engage this one here. It is 6-inch long move. He is also melee of 5. It will bite the crow. He gets difficulty of 1, scores a 3 of 3. Oh, he gets loads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Definitely enough there. Take that one off. And finally, the ghost will do his best to kick the snot out of the final villager. I don't think this is going to be difficult. He's got 3 actions to do this in. That is not rolled. He gets difficulty of 8, scores a 10, a 9 and 9. That's 4 damage on it already with his first attack. He'll hit it again. He gets difficulty of 2. It's skill 2. It kills it there at that point. Ginger moves over here. Okay, at the end of our heroes phase, we've basically run out of stuff. Yeah, that was surprising, that was. So the threat level isn't 10 yet, but I have no more villainous models to play. All threat markers have been revealed and all the objectives have been met. So at that point, we will call this game an end. So let's move on and count up the number of victory points for the game. First of all, we didn't lose a single teammate. That's 1. Secondly, our hero is alive for 2. Our leader is alive. I'm not going to count 3 there because I've got 2 leaders in this patch. I think that might need tweaking for multiple players. We've stopped the ritual. We get 3 points for that, which takes us up to 5. We've got no stone unturned. We only got a single victory point for that. That is a 6. And we have rescue the prisoner. That takes us all the way up to 9. So that gives us a tale fit for the telling. That was a pretty good game. Fairly happy with how that went on. As always, thanks for joining us here at the Cock Dice. Please like this video, comment below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Why don't you check out one of Butch's other adventures from the playlist below. We'll see you again next week. Good night.